Hi, I am Patrick, and this is Brian. Together we just got played. We're at the Cloak and Blaster, and we just got done playing Time Stories. Time Stories. Time Stories. Please join us for Time Stories. Okay, we just got done playing Time Stories. Well, we did one playthrough of Time Stories. Brian, tell us all about the playthrough for Time Stories.
Sure. Time Stories, it's a 2 to 4 player co-op style discovery slash delve slash storytelling slash role-playing game, kind of all rolled into one. It's set with a theme. You're in the future. You work for a time traveling agency where each of the players is a character, and they are going back in time to set some wrong right again. And they do this by going into these time machine pods. I forget what they call them. But then you actually go back in time and possess what they call a receptacle, or a person. So it's like a temporal possession, which is kind of a cool way to look at it. The base game comes with the standard adventure, but there are other expansions that you can get as well, and those will have new components and supplemental rules and all kinds of things. But basically, the game is a race against time. You have so many time units in which you're going to spend. The game board is broken out into where your current location is, and there's also a map in a corner of the board. When your party begins the game, it kind of starts off, and there's what they call, in your current location, a panorama of cards that are spilled out across. And you choose where you want your character to go, and so do the other players. When your character goes to one of the parts, and that could be anywhere from probably 1 to maybe to 5 or 6 different cards that make up the panorama, the scene. If your character's there, you get to actually look at the card, and there's a whole bunch of flavor text and clues and things that are going to kind of help you unwind the puzzle. And all of your characters have a telepathic ability, so that allows you to basically table talk, or in your own words, tell the other players what that card says, but you can't just let them read it. The other things, besides clues and flavor text, there could also be a challenge, and it could be a combat challenge. It could be like opening a door or some other type of skill, or something like your glibness or something like that. So basically, you're trying to discover as many clues as you can in this one panorama location, and then at that point, you can either spend more time and trying to find out every possible thing that you can, and some of these cards lead you to items and other kinds of clues, or you can then take your time units and go to an entirely different location on the map, which then unfolds a whole other set of locations to explore in a new panorama. And so in the first game, it's set in an insane asylum, and I'm not going to give any more spoilers other than that, but you're trying to solve whatever kind of problem that might be happening there. With that, Patrick, what would you say is your favorite thing about Time Stories?
It's got to be the immersion of the game. We go back in time, and we're playing, in this particular version, we're playing in an insane asylum. And one of my characters is a coke addict. And I play through the course of the game, I'm playing the game, and I find more cocaine.
Characters.
Yeah, characters. And he finds more cocaine. There's also characters that are cannibals, and they actually eat other characters, and they give you more strength. The game is really, really cool and immersive. The artwork really lends itself to that. You actually move through this panoramic view of one particular room, and it's so exciting to flip over the card and find out what's next. Or it could be a burner. You flip over that next room, and it could be something that eats a bunch of time and screws y'all up. It's got to be the immersion of the game, Brian. I love it. It's great. It's an insane asylum with a coke addict in it. I'm down. And if you like something about it, what is it?
The thing that I like best is I'm not a big fan of co-op style games, but this one actually, and the reason why I don't like that is because of the alpha player problem, where just one player gets in there and seems to dictate all the other movements, and it doesn't really seem like a fun game. However, this one kind of sidesteps that whole issue of having that alpha player, because I feel that it's more on the side of the storytelling slash like RPG almost, where there's not really a whole lot of math, where one player who's just better at the math of the game can dictate to all the other players what to do. It's more of a game based on perception and problem solving and memory as well. So it brings in everyone to work together, I think, a lot more than just lending itself to favoring just the player who's good at the actual mechanic of the game, if you will.
And I think that character in one specific part of that one room, being able to see that card and not read it out loud helps mitigate that too. I think it does a really good job of mitigating the alpha.
It forces everyone to work together, to use their memory and problem-solving skills. Yeah. So, with that, Patrick, what would you say is the thing that you like least about Time Stories, though?
I'm a little disappointed about this. I mean, the game's great, and I definitely would buy it again, but I would have to say it's probably the components. This is a white painted dowel that is my game piece, and there's bigger white painted dowels for your other game pieces. And the dice are wooden, and they're not really embossed dice. They're not impregnated with the image. It's just kind of painted on. You think it might be stamped on?
It might be. It might be.
But it's just not. It's not impregnated in the dice. And they even feel like they might be wood too. So I guess if I had to pick one thing, it's going to be the components. So if you're a component freak, if you're like, oh, I've got to have rounded edges, or I've got to have linen finish, or I want 320 card stock, you're not going to get that. And if there's one thing that you don't like, if you had to pick one.
Well, the good news though is that, at least for me, the components. I'm not really a component guy necessarily, but the immersion factor, I didn't even really notice the quality of the components or anything. But if I had to pick one thing that I didn't like about Time Stories, I would have to say it's going to be a commitment-intensive game. There's a lot of games out right now that kind of have this type of campaign type of thing, and you're going to have the same players over your house. It's going to extend. This game I think it plays in 60 to 90 minutes, and that's one run through. But chances are you're probably not going to succeed in your first attempt or your first run. So it's going to take 2 or 3, or I've heard up to 6 plays of the game, which at 60 to 90 minutes apiece, and that's just the core game. And then there's expansions, and I don't even know if they run in or bleed into each other or anything like that. I don't know, but
don't you?
Maybe. But that's going to require a large time commitment, and I'm commitment phobic when it comes to committing to play the same board game over and over. And then, because that starts to compete with other games such as Pandemic Legacy and then just RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, all that kind of stuff. I mean, if I'm going to run a campaign, this game might push into that realm of that. So it's what do I want to do? But anyways, the game, Time Stories, you can pick up your copy at your favorite local gaming store or gaming pub.
I'm Patrick, this is Brian. Together we just got played. Thank you very, very much for watching. We'll see you soon. So, dude, I found a lot of cocaine.
I know. You keep mentioning that.
And there was some sort of scene where this orderly grabs one of the patients. It got a little saucy.
Yeah, that was kind of exciting.
That was a little weird.
I kind of like that one. So,
did you? You like that? I was a little uncomfortable.
Well, it wasn't an insane asylum, but I think you fit right in. So,
well, yeah,
you shouldn't be uncomfortable around your own.
I do have problems. I'm trying to fix those. I'm working through it.
Cocaine and then iocane, and all of your powders, man. Are you a pharmacist by day?
No, it's a late night job.
Oh,
it's a late night job for me.
Work at Walgreens, huh?
I did used to work at Walgreens.
What kind of production is this?